fourth step is just so critical, and this is adjusting your offer based on what you've learned. So that by the time you've gotten here, you've gone through all these different steps, you've interacted, you've had all these different touch points with people, you've gotten a lot of these conversations going. Right now, you're at a place where you are going to try and find places to adjust the offer. Do you want to improve something? Is there something that you want, a new lecture that you want to eventually add? All these things are completely normal and even expected when you're starting to launch to your audience. So start to adjust your audience based on what you learned. Here's an audience adjustment that I actually ended up making, and this has to do with the landing page or the course page that I had when I launched the User Growth Bootcamp. And when I first launched the User Growth Bootcamp, I actually didn't say that it was designed for busy founders. I just said that, hey, this is a program that's designed for founders and teams. What I eventually found is that most people who responded to me said, you know what, Conrad, your program sounds great, but I just don't have enough time. They literally just said, hey, look, I just don't have enough time for it. And it was really hard for me to communicate with them and say, look, this actually doesn't take that much time. I'm only asking for 2 sessions per week for 6 weeks. And each session is only a couple hours. So I wanted to really make that point, and I wanted to really drive that point in. So I updated the subheadline to say, look, this is designed for busy founders and teams. So I handled that objection up front. The next thing I did, and this is with the second launch of the User Growth Bootcamp, is I put a testimonial, and in bold in the testimonial, I actually said, and this is actually what someone said who had joined the session, was, I was concerned that the classes wouldn't fit my schedule. I was surprised by the strong group of companies in the class. So those two bold texts were things highlighted that the other people So those two bolded texts were ways of handling that objection of I'm too busy. I'm surprised by the strong group of companies in the class was also meant to handle another objection about who they were actually meeting in this program, because one of the benefits was you get to meet a couple other startup CEOs and founders and learn a little bit from them. So this is one of the things that I did to handle some objections. Finally, the other thing is, to people that still said, hey, you know what, I'm too busy, I said, hey, what I'm going to do is provide the full recordings of each of the different sessions and put that into Teachable. So anybody that took the course and wasn't able to make a particular session that I had held live, that session would be recorded and it'd be available for them to view anytime, and it'd be available for anyone on their team to review as well. One objection that Juliana had that she told me about was, I don't need to sell yet. So a lot of people that were kind of creating these products or that were designed to be sold to big companies, they said, hey, I'm really focused on the product right now. I don't need to sell this product yet. So what did Juliana do? In the introduction of her course, she said, why do 90% of startups fail? And then she just went into exactly why that was the case. And according to a lot of famous VCs and a couple other famous people out there that have a lot of voice and credibility in the startup scene, a lot of them say that startups fail because of their inability to sell. So she addressed that head on by finding credibility in people that said, hey, look, sales is important no matter what stage you're in. The next objection that she handled was when someone would see her course, they would say, you know what, sales training is interesting, but it's just not for me because any sales training I've seen is super corny or it's just dated. So what Juliana did is she put the word in that says modern. And modern was a way of her speaking to that specific objection. The other thing is, and this is an objection that you're going to get regardless of what type of your content is how well designed your site is going to impact what someone's impression is of how relevant and up to date your content is. So the design, the background image, all those sorts of things are going to help you, and Teachable will really help you with that.